This chick's supposed to be dead.
What does that mean?
I don't know. The system says she died 3 years ago.
Police encounters often take wild and unpredictable turns, but these ones are truly terrifying. Their body cams captured ghostly entities, demonic possessions. And encounters so scary, even the bravest officers were left shaking. On November 22nd, 2021, a woman called 911 because she thought someone had broken into her house. She'd gone shopping, but when she came back, her front door was wide open. When police arrived, they searched the house with flashlights. That's when an officer started hearing loud banging coming from the closet of one of the rooms. He went to check, but there was no answer. That's not even the most terrifying part, because a few moments later, they noticed a door swing on its own. Despite a careful search, police couldn't find anyone inside and left.
Police! Anyone inside, make yourself known.
Which made the homeowner believe that maybe her house was haunted. Demonic possession. On December 23rd in Vernon County, Wisconsin, a police officer was sent to confront a woman named Stacy. She had made satanic claims over a phone call and even told her friend that she would come for her, which is why the friend alerted police. When the officer arrived, he found her home in ruins and Stacy acting in a dangerous way.
It's hot for here.
Hey, Stacy.
Get the away from my door, you
Back down. Back down. Put it down.
It looked like she had lost all sense of reasoning, almost as if she were under demonic possession. The officer had no choice but to control the situation in the safest way he could.
Put it down. Stacy, put it down or you will get tased.
Stacy was arrested, and demonic possession or not, her actions made her a high-risk individual. So, they charged her with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and reckless endangerment. Possessed passenger. In Brazil, a woman in a truck's bed was behaving in a disturbing way, so police pulled the truck over. At first, they thought she might need help, but when they approached, they were horrified. The woman's behavior didn't seem human. She was making guttural sounds, and her body twitched unnaturally, almost like she was being controlled by something demonic. The officers had seen many people under the influence of illegal substances, but none of them behaved this way. Believing something darker was at play, they took both individuals into custody, but no one knows what happened next. Demonic possession. On the 16th of March 2023, Officer Nick was dispatched with his team to a home because a guy was acting dangerously. It was a 22-year-old man named Anish. His father reported he'd been jumping from high places and throwing things around. When Officer Nick confronted him, Anish refused to speak.
Hey, stop. Right now. Stop. What's going on? Why are you jumping like that? Are you hurt? What's your name? What's your name? I'm Nick.
And stood in a hostile stance. His family told the officers he never used any illegal substances or medications. However, he'd been involved with a strange cult recently, which is why they thought he must be possessed. Police simply dismissed that idea, and when Anish didn't cooperate, they arrested him. Haunted police chase. A police officer responded to a disturbance call from neighbors who reported strange activity in a house in Ohio. When officers entered, the house was completely dark and empty. The sound of crying suddenly started coming from one of the rooms. When he was following it, he felt someone behind him. He turned around to see a figure that vanished instantly. As he searched further, he encountered a terrifying ghostly woman with her face hidden by long hair. The officer ordered her to drop to the ground.
Get on the ground! Get on the
then something horrifying happened. By the time backup arrived, it was too late for him. Police teleportation. This bizarre case took place in 2016 and was captured on Officer Joe Hall's dashcam. He had pulled over a driver for an unsafe lane change and asked for his license and registration. Before the driver could give his documents, a strange white light suddenly filled the area. The light was so bright that they couldn't see anything. But then, something even more mysterious happened when the light vanished. Officer Hall vanished too. It seemed as if the light had transported him somewhere else. The suspect panicked and immediately drove away, and Officer Hall wasn't found again. Horrifying screams. This video is really unsettling. An officer was checking out an abandoned area near Kentucky. He had gotten reports of a strange woman running around and scaring people. He was checking the dark area with his flashlight, searching for any sign of her. Suddenly, he heard a terrifying scream that didn't seem human. It was so loud that he felt his soul nearly leave his body. Later, his partner joined him too, but they heard the scream again. They didn't go closer, and decided to return only if they had a strong backup and enough arsenal to handle whatever was screaming. Possessed woman. A terrified family in Brazil called police after they kept hearing screams from their neighbor's house. They thought something horrifying was happening inside her home. When the officers rushed to the scene, they found the young woman in a strange condition, and she kept screaming in a demonic voice.
No mames.
They thought she had taken illegal substances, so they arrested her. However, the police later revealed that her tests showed nothing in her system, so they had to find another cause for her behavior. After an investigation, they found these eerie ritualistic objects. Investigators suspected she'd been involved in dark rituals, which left her in that disturbing state.
No mames, no mames, no mames, no mames, no mames.
Terrifying possession. Police went to handle what they thought would be just an unhinged person, but they found something devilish instead. In a small Polish village, a woman named Kamilka wouldn't leave her home's attic. She was screaming and growling like a devilish entity. Villagers said her behavior had changed ever since she returned from a remote forest shrine. That night, when she lost all control. They were certain she was possessed. Even paramedics were terrified. The video ended there, but according to sources, they subdued her and took her to a hospital. She was sedated, but we don't know if an exorcism was done. Hospital invisible entity. This footage was recorded inside a hospital in Denver. A security guard did something strange during his rounds. He stopped by the waiting room chairs and began speaking to someone, but no one else was visible. As he walked away, the balloons floated behind him down the hall, as if following him. He even turned and spoke again to empty air. However, the guard didn't realize he'd been talking to invisible entities until he saw this footage and couldn't understand how that was even possible. Restless souls. On August 13th, 2018, in Frederick, Colorado, a man named Christopher Lee Watts ended his own family. He was later arrested, and his punishment was 5 life sentences. But even with such punishment, the family's souls never seemed to find peace. When police entered the house for investigation, they reported strange activity. They heard soft giggling from one room.
Yes.
Later, their camera caught a small figure moving on the stairs. They even seemed to have captured the wife Shannon's spirit as well, and heard a voice saying, "This is our home." After that, The voices remained as a chilling reminder of the horrifying events that took place there, and no one dared to stay there. Zombie Mystery Woman. Is that a real zombie woman? The viral video shows a woman walking around in the streets of Seattle on the 5th of May, 2021. Her pale face looked terrifying with blackened eyes and lips. Soon, police officers noticed her and tried to find out what was wrong with her, but she just kept screaming while walking away. Officers and paramedics finally managed to restrain her. Later, the truth finally came out. They identified her as Kimberly Kasai. Paramedics confirmed it was all makeup for a political protest against vaccines. Honolulu Ghost.
An officer telling of a story her partner told her of a ghostly encounter at the Pali Lookout.
A Honolulu police officer, Corporal Taisa Itewati, shared a chilling story her rookie partner experienced at the Pali Lookout. This isn't the actual footage, but rather a recreation of the events. The actual event happened in 2018, when the officer was assigned to lock the gates late at night. She saw a woman in a white dress and stopped to check on her. Moments later, she was horrified to see the same woman had teleported in her back seat. The officer realized it was a ghost.
Oh, what are you doing out here, Auntie?
So she stayed calm the whole time. After some time, she was relieved to see that the lady had disappeared. Creepy clowns. On July 10th, 2016, something bizarre unfolded in Menasha, USA. Just minutes before 4 a.m., police received reports of people in clown masks chasing after cars on Appleton and Midway roads. No one knew if this was just a prank, a result of mental issues, or if something darker was making them do this. When officers arrived, they discovered two men in full clown costumes.
Guys, make sure to keep your hand where we can see them, alright?
After arresting them, Police Chief Tim Sticka revealed that one of them had left a 4-year-old child at home for this disturbing activity. He was then with child neglect, while the other man wasn't charged.
I want you guys to come up to this barrier right here. Go ahead and put your butts against it.
Hotel Ghost. The footage is said to be from the Wingate Hotel in Illinois. On September 14, 2003, the staff member Amy Miller reported screams coming from the unoccupied room 209. Security guard John went inside to investigate, but at the same time, the camera picked up a transparent white figure floating out of the room. It was shaped like a person, which means it could be a ghost. The guard reported that the room was in chaos, and even the carpet was ripped up. He told Amy they'd have to call the police. However, the video doesn't show if they called for help.
Okay, Amy, John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind.
Haunted car. After tracking down an old stolen car, Officer Colin Mercer pulled it over. He was planning to confront the driver, but to his shock, there was no one in the driver's seat.
Like somebody's in the car. I swear to God, I saw somebody in the car.
He opened the door and looked around. Shockingly, even the radio was on.
This is some spooky shit right here.
But he didn't know who had turned it on. The officer was so spooked that he stepped back. That's when he noticed a figure through the window. It looked like a hand, but with only 3 fingers. Officer Mercer was so terrified, he decided to transfer to someone else. Car ghost. This terrifying footage was recorded on the 15th of October, 2015. When a man in Spain parked his car at a mall and stepped out, something unbelievable happened. The car began moving on its own, as if an invisible driver had pressed the pedal. It couldn't have been a brake issue, because in that case, the car would have run into the wall. But it stopped just before that could happen. When the man returned nearly half an hour later, he was shocked to see his car in a different spot. So, do you think it was a ghost or just a mechanical issue? Ghost driver. Did these police officers in Detroit capture a ghost driver? In 2016, they were chasing a van that had been speeding down the streets. The chase went on for nearly an hour, but the driver did not slow down. When they finally caught up to the vehicle, the officers were stunned. There was no one behind the wheel. They even searched inside and around the van, but there was no trace of a driver. Even after an investigation, they couldn't figure out how that was possible. Disturbing breakdown. In November 2020, police in Beaver Creek, Ohio, responded to a call involving actress Irene Bedard, the voice of Disney's Pocahontas. At first, she seemed distressed.
I'm a 53-year-old Native American woman.
But then she slowly lost control, and her behavior became stranger. She acted as if something unseen was after her, and she kept making claims that made no sense.
Now you're gonna go to jail.
I'm staying away from you. Well, what do you expect?
She resisted the officer and even tried to push past him, which led to charges of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest.
I don't know what that is.
Stop!
When the footage was released, viewers jumped to her defense by saying she was suffering from a mental illness. But some people also thought something darker was going on. Strange woman. At a laundromat, a woman was acting so strangely, they had to call the police.
Hi, ma'am, how are you? Are you okay? You're okay? What's your name?
When officers arrived, they found her standing there in a strange stance. She kept repeating the same gestures over and over again. The officer wanted to know if she had taken any illegal substances, but she wasn't answering.
Getting some behavior of intoxication. Have you taken any illicit narcotics today?
After a while, when she snapped out of her trance-like state, the officers informed her that she was no longer allowed on this property. After that, they took her to get tested for substances, but they couldn't find out what was going on with her. Shape-shifting entity. You won't believe what this officer in Paraguay encountered. He thought he was dispatched to handle a burglary, but when he arrived, he realized it wasn't a person at all. Instead, there was a strange creature inside the building, and it could climb over flat surfaces too. He brought down the creature with his arsenal. The video ended there, but he stated later that he'd never seen anything like that in his life, and that it seemed like a supernatural entity. However, he never revealed what the police did to the creature after that, or maybe they were trying to hide it. Invisible entity. This security guard from a hospital in Colombia thought he was helping an old lady late at night. He was seen on CCTV opening the door for her as if she were real. He then waited by the elevator while still talking to her. But his superior, who'd been watching him through the cameras, told him he was completely alone and asked why he was talking to himself. After that terrifying realization, the guard panicked and bolted out of the building because he was convinced he had been speaking to a ghost. Werewolf sighting. Walter Leguizamon, an off-duty officer, shared a chilling video online of a strange encounter in Jose C. Paz, Argentina. He was driving at 3 in the morning when he spotted what he first thought was a dog. But as he looked closer, he realized it was something else. The creature's snout wasn't normal at all. It was flatter. And in his description, he even said its face looked disturbingly human. Convinced he had just seen a werewolf, Walter quickly drove away. So, what do you think this terrifying creature could have been? Trapped spirit. Reporter Marcos Ribeiro was at the site where 2 cars had collided, and police were examining the damage. The people involved had already been rushed to the hospital, and 1 life was lost. During the report, the camera captured something no one expected. In one of the vehicles, a face appeared in the window. It was pale and ghostly. Neither the officers nor the reporter noticed it at the time. Only after the footage aired did viewers spot the eerie figure, and they thought it was the trapped spirit of the person who had passed away in that car. Flying humanoid. Police officers in Guadalajara, Mexico, were reviewing CCTV footage when they noticed a strange formation. The camera had captured a smoky figure, and what made it truly chilling was its shape, because it was oddly humanoid. It seemed almost as if an otherworldly entity had taken form right there. The figure moved toward the camera, then seemed to hover directly above it, before vanishing completely. Officers couldn't explain what they saw. Could it be paranormal activity, or something far worse? Comment below. Hospital paranormal activity. At around 3 a.m. in Manila, Philippines, 2 guards were making their rounds. Suddenly, they heard loud banging. They realized the sound was coming from the emergency exit of an old building. The corridor lights were also flickering mysteriously. The noise turned out to be the emergency cabinet door slamming again and again. The guards couldn't understand how the door was moving on its own, because it wasn't mechanical and could only be opened by hand. Thinking that area was haunted, they decided to stay away from it during their patrols. Alien conspiracy.
It involves talk of alien sightings at Bayside Marketplace.
Not everything is as it seems. Just like the time when police in downtown Miami responded to chaos in a shopping area. According to authorities, some teens were causing concerns with fireworks and disorder. However, later conspiracies came out that the police weren't there for the teens, but a giant alien. Despite the claim being too absurd, this video seems to support that claim. In the video, we can see a tall alien figure. After the conspiracies became too much to ignore, reporters contacted Miami police, but Officer Michael Vega denied it. Still, many people think they were hiding the truth. Sewer monster. A guy named Connor and his friend went out late at night after hearing a rumor. Someone had seen a scary monster near an old sewer and was even thinking of alerting the police. The 2 friends wanted to check if that was true. As they got closer, they noticed a terrifying creature. A pale figure was crawling out of the sewer's grate. It wasn't like any animal they knew, because it looked strangely humanoid. After seeing it, they realized this was serious and decided to alert the police. Devilish intruder. This unsettling event happened in Mexico in 2019. A homeowner whose house was still under construction thought someone had broken in. He alerted the police, but when the officer arrived, he realized it was no ordinary intruder. It was a demonic entity draped in dark clothes. Its face was terrifying, with eyes that seemed to be glowing. The officer didn't know who or what he was dealing with, so instead of rushing inside, he kept recording it and called for backup. But before they could arrive, the entity disappeared completely. Police ghost. No one knows what this CCTV at a police station in Trstenik, Serbia captured. The officers were monitoring the footage when one of them noticed something strange in a restricted area where no one else was allowed. A white smoky figure appeared mysteriously. It moved across the hall before vanishing. At first they were going to dismiss it, but the figure reappeared. It had no clear shape, yet its movements were too precise and deliberate. The officers replayed the footage many times, but still couldn't explain what it was. So, what do you think? Could it be a ghost? Mall ghost. Inside a shopping mall in Brazil, a security guard captured a mysterious female entity. It was going up the escalator. Her hair was dark, and the rest of her seemed translucent. When he ran toward the escalator, he realized she wasn't up there. Instead, she was right behind her. According to the guard, She'd been showing up in the same spot at 12:15 every night. The surveillance cameras in that area always malfunctioned mysteriously, so no one believed him, which is why he was determined to film it himself. And this time, he finally managed to record the proof of what he believed was a ghost haunting the mall. Dark Ritual. On the 27th of June, 2015, an undercover officer was on an operation to investigate a gang involved in illegal activities. As he drove down the empty road, he saw a woman blocking the way. Flames were flickering at her feet as she stood unnervingly still. Then, she spread her arms wide. It looked like her body had started to rise, or maybe it was just an illusion. Part of her face was glowing too. It seemed like a satanic ritual. However, apart from that, there are no other details about the video to confirm if she was part of the group he was investigating or something else. Mystery Call.
It's after a 911 call in Pueblo from a funeral home and cemetery.
On August 11th, 2018, police got a chilling 911 call in the morning. It had come from Imperial Memorial Gardens, which is a funeral home and cemetery in Pueblo, Colorado. The caller had hung up without saying anything, and when police called back, all they heard was static.
Hello?
If you listen carefully, it almost seems like someone was trying to say, "Help me."
Hello?
After an officer was sent to investigate, he found the entire property to be locked and completely empty. No one was there, leaving behind unsettling questions about who or what had made that call from inside the cemetery. Haunted Training Academy.
Is the Honolulu Police Department's training academy in Waipahu haunted? Well, some say it is.
This video is a reenactment of the real experience of a night guard named Tony. One night, while doing his rounds at the Honolulu Police Department's training academy in Waipahu, Tony heard loud sounds. He got curious because even the police dogs were barking loudly. The sound drew him to the SWAT house, where all the wooden shutters were moving on their own. When he walked closer, the shutters stopped moving. A few nights later, Tony saw an old lady in white at the same time. When he tried to approach her, she disappeared, only to reappear with an angry face. It was all too much for him, so he ran. However, other officers later also reported ghostly encounters at the academy. Frightening Job. Security officer Alex Nunez had been working at this hotel in San Francisco for over 5 years, but he never experienced anything like this. While patrolling a section of the building that was mostly empty, he heard what sounded like chairs moving and began recording on his phone.
Oh, hell no. This is what I'm talking about, dude. This is what I'm talking about.
That's when he noticed the entrance doors swinging open on their own. What made it really confusing was that their hinges were rusty, so there was no way they could move by themselves. Thinking some mysterious paranormal force was doing this, Alex requested authorities to switch his guard duty to another area of the building.
By myself.
Shocking disappearance. This police body cam captured something no one can explain. An officer pulled a woman over for speeding. At first, everything seemed normal, and the driver, named Sarah Millard, was cooperative. But when the officer briefly turned away, the unbelievable happened. Sarah vanished.
Sit tight, Sarah. I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is expired.
The officer searched everywhere, but it was as if she had disappeared into thin air. The video took the internet by storm, and many viewers started questioning if this was real. Even after digging deeper, no one could find any more records of Sarah, or even details about the officer on duty. That's why the credibility of this video remains doubtful.
Sarah? What the heck?
Invisible force. Watch carefully, because this CCTV from Banda Hilir Police Station in Malaysia captured something truly shocking. On 6 April 2017, everything seemed normal, but at 4 a.m., the doors suddenly swung open. like someone invisible had done it. The officers stood up and tried to understand what had happened. It couldn't have been the breeze, since the doors were very heavy and required real force. They even reviewed the footage later, but couldn't come up with any answers. What explanation do you have? Could it have been a ghost? Now it's time for the most terrifying bodycam footage of today. This bodycam footage is from May 22nd of this year. Deputy Schwartz and Sheriff Landon pulled over a woman because they thought she'd taken illegal substances. From the beginning, the woman showed strange behavior.
Hey, what? Ma'am, put that down now. I don't know if you have any weapons on you.
I am a weapon.
Stop, don't spit. No spitting and don't lean on the car. Stop spitting, no spitting.
Both her actions and her words were unsettling. As they inspected her to check if she was sober, her eyeballs started moving strangely. That was only the beginning. When they ran her registration, the system showed she had passed away 3 years earlier.
This chick's supposed to be dead.
What does that mean?
I don't think the system says she died 3 years ago.
They decided to arrest her, but unfortunately, there's no follow-up on her case. So, she could have faked her passing to live in hiding. Or maybe what we saw in the video wasn't human.